Welcome back to DreamHack Atlanta. Lots of great Rocket League happened so far, and lots of great Rocket League still to come. And one thing about the way we do things here, I never get to talk to the casters about how they felt about the match that just happened, because they always make space for us to interview players. So, Achieves, Fickle, guys, thoughts about Ambition? How'd you guys feel?
I mean, they were my dark horse for a reason. I mean, they had a pretty easy game in that one, but they have a little bit of a tougher group. They have Envious in their group. Yes. I'm more excited to see the results of that one, but in that last game, it pretty much went exactly as how I thought it would. Wonder actually really surprised me and played very, very well, so I hope he's able to continue that kind of performance in the rest of the day.
For sure, absolutely. Ambition coming out strong there with a victory. And next, we're going to get to see Genesis versus Cerberus Esports. Cerberus Esports, a team I've never heard of. I've never seen these players, Lum, Koopdog, and Rich. I'm excited to see a brand new roster, what they have to bring to the table. But Genesis is a roster you have so much history with, Quinn. You are actually you actually own the brand Genesis. Genesis is your team, basically.
Well, yeah, I actually made that team with Pluto and Espion way back when, and I have a little bit of personal affiliation to it. Yeah,
for sure.
That's the team who I competed in the RLCS Season 1 with.
Yeah, and you managed them at one point, no longer really officially affiliated with the team in any way, shape, or form. But Genesis here, Jay Wismont Classics and Lethemir. Classics, the only player who's like been on this roster more than just of recent times here. You played on it in the last season of RLCS. Jay Wismont, a player that's been around for a while. Lethemir coming over from Denial. So lots of good competition here, lots of RLCS caliber play here. Genesis clearly the favorites right now against Cerberus.
Right, I think Classics and Lethemir are going to be a huge combination on this team. Lethemir really proving himself last season as, you know, almost a star, I'd say, in his own right. He really impressed a lot of people in that Denial squad with Sad Jr. and Corrupted G. And seeing him come and join Classics is going to be interesting. Classics is a very, very good player, especially online. His LAN performance, not as well proven. I mean, we can look at past RLCS history and see he struggled a little bit. But, I mean, it is difficult in a LAN environment. It's completely different than online. So I'm going to be interested to see how Lethemir, a player who's very good on LAN, does with a teammate Classics who maybe is a little less skilled in the LAN environment. And Jay Wismont, I mean, I'm not as familiar with him lately. I haven't been keeping up to date with him, but he has been historically a very strong player. So it's going to be interesting to see how these three combine, if you will.
And we've all done competitive Rocket League to some degree or another, but you, as the only one who's actually a former professional here on the desk, thoughts about how Genesis approaches this match when they're going up against Cerberus Esports, a team that they most likely have played very little against? How do you approach a team that you know almost nothing about?
Right, the smart way to approach it is to take it as if they were playing Envious or something, right? Like just playing a top-level team. Don't give these guys any disrespect whatsoever, because that's when they'll surprise you with a flick or with a dribble that you didn't expect they were capable of. And once they surprise you and they get the lead, that's when the games become a lot more difficult. Rocket League rewards offensive pressure just in the game, boost control, all these things are great things to have. But being one goal down forces you to take risks that you wouldn't have to take otherwise, and that's dangerous when you're playing against a team that you don't know their capabilities. These teams, Cerberus probably knows Genesis much better than Genesis knows Cerberus. So I'd say Genesis have to be cautious. They need to take it slow, and they need to make sure that they don't give any easy goals up early in the game.
Now, one thought to think about, guys, Genesis and G2 are both in this group. So Cerberus, if they want to be moving forward here, they really need to get a victory over Genesis here. So thoughts about the matchup, Fickle, you know, any key things to be paying attention to right now?
I mean, it's a double-edged sword of an event like DreamHack. On one end, teams that don't have any kind of experience on the LAN get their shot to be in the spotlight. But on the other end, you're going up against teams that have been in RLCS before. So it's like, man, that was really fun, but I wish I had a better chance. But I still got that chance, you know what I mean? I'm expecting a clean 2-0 from Genesis here, going against a team that, I mean, no offense, I've not heard of any of their names before, and I consider myself pretty, you know, rooted in the community. So if I've not heard your name, then maybe
maybe you're nobody.
I don't want to say that.
You are
but
a
like,
new challenger at this point.
new
You're someone
challenger.
we do not
That's
know
a very
anything
nice
about.
way to say it.
Jeez.
A mysterious challenger appears, and their name is Cerberus Esports. Anything achieves. So, key player to watch here on Genesis. We talked about Classics as the longest standing member of this roster, but Jay Wismont and Lethamir both coming on most recently. Who's the player to watch for you?
I'm actually curious to see Jay Wiz, just because, I mean, we've already seen Leth play on LAN. I don't think I've ever seen Jay Wiz play at a LAN environment, unless, you know, Wizard Fickle has any magic info I'm unaware of.
But an input about Jay Wismont, he was one of those players to transition from the PS4 all the way with him, Lemon Puppy, and I cannot remember the third right now, but they were a very solid PS4 team a while ago. He's only recently moved, well, maybe like 5 months ago, recently moved over to the PC and ready to play, you know, serious competitive.
Yeah, Jay Wismont, always known characteristically as a very strong 1v1 player. He's got great dribbles and very mechanically sound player. I think that when we're looking on this Genesis roster, we're going to be looking for them not to overextend whatsoever. They don't need to take risks, assuming that they're the better team on paper.
Sure.
Because the more risks they take, then the problems that are going to arise from a team that could potentially upset you. And it's very easy to get tilted, if you will, emotionally, just when you see a team that you think that you should be beating just outclass you.
Absolutely.
Well, let's go ahead and get right into this game. Kickoff going to be favoring Genesis. Jay Wiz applying some pressure, actually able to get around him quite cleanly. It's a good start for Cerberus to at least not immediately get thrown right back into your own side, as Classics now towards the midfield. Jay Wiz finds the demo, not the ball, however, and that's the one he wanted, as this one goes right out to Coop Dog, and Classics has to make a tough save to start things off for Genesis.
I must say that I am a huge fan of Jay Wismont's car right now, with the navy blue back paint and then the
dragon,
like the turquoise cyan, you know, Dracos. That is a very clean car.
Yeah, he's got the what's that called, Guardian Dragon decal, I think. But either way, like you said, it's very stylish. This one right into the top right. Lethamir starts things off.
And a little bit of a known fact about Lethamir, a competitive Celtic dancer. And a very talented one at that, but also a fantastic Rocket League player in the middle of the stage. I believe he is, I want to actually say he's actually more experienced than Classics. I have to double check on that. But those two guys definitely have their share experience of LAN, you know, playing on LAN.
It's a good pass over to Rich. Perhaps caught a little bit off guard by it, however, and couldn't really throw this back out into the middle of the box for a chance for Cerberus. This one kind of surprising. Definitely caught cheating forward a little bit too much. Jay Wiz takes one.
Yeah, and Jay Wismont's primary function here is to just react to what Rich was doing. Since Rich doesn't have any speed coming out of the corner, there's almost no way that ball gets around him unless he pulls off a crazy flick. So he's just going to wait there and see what he does. He forfeits the possession completely, and Jay Wismont's just going to take that, walk it right into the net for another goal.
Just over a minute elapsed here. Missile, Jay Wiz, 3-0 Genesis.
This is actually a very difficult shot because you're coming across the box completely away from the ball, and to get that much height from it into the top portion of the net, that is why they picked him up on this team. 3-0 for Genesis, and I don't think they're going to stop there.
And it's a good start for Jay Wiz as well. He recently played as a sub for Denial, correct?
Jay Wismont, I believe he was always on Genesis. Just didn't play in the season.
Not important. Jay Wiz, a sub for a team previously, getting a chance to start for a roster here. And it's always good to see him perform well, and you might see him upcoming as a starter in the North American RLCS as Coop Dog gives a pass down to Rich. Towards the top of the box, just a little bit too far out of reach, and Lethamir dishes one out to Classics. This one hard downfield, just off target. Won't stop Coop Dog from throwing it into the corner. That's a good back pass coming out of the Genesis crew as well. Possession-based play, very important.
Classics, always one of those very off Dominus players. I don't think I've ever seen him on anything but a Dominus. Even he's been playing quite a long time as well. You know, participated in I think every RLCS to date, even season 1. But has only made 1 live LAN finals, and he's one of those names that's pretty seated in the community as being, you know, one of the best around.
Coop Dog breakaway, went for the delayed touch, and Leth able to stay right with it. Some solid defensive skills on display out of the Genesis crew. Have yet to allow a goal in this series. This one just over the heads of 2, and another breakaway chance here for Cerberus. Classics realizing the danger, went and shut the door early though. J-Wiz now. Soft touch, just edged out to the touch was Rich. Hard off the back wall, chance, and right at Classics, and he misses the clear. Would you believe it? Lum takes one.
Classics didn't want to flip into this ball to avoid putting it right back into the middle as it kind of bounced a bit awkwardly to him. He was trying to field it on this car and dribble it out, and then completely misjudges the bounce, and it bounces off of him into his own net. You know, count it for Cerberus. They scored, technically.
Normally, I tend to plug things for the Dominus as a Dominus player myself, but with a taller Clyde, the meta had that double commit on the clear, and Rich brings them right back into it. They're within one.
And look at that. Cerberus is happy, and definitely they should be, because this defensive mistake from Classics completely stealing the clear away from Jay Wismont, who was going to push that off to the side. And Classics is that's at that point where if you're a scumbag, you put great pass in the chat, because that was definitely a defensive mistake from Classics.
Well, we've got plenty of Rocket League still to go, and Classic says, nope, not coming back into this. We'll be doing a nice job of that.
I believe Rich was the one that scored the goal off of Classics' defensive mistake. And the positioning there is just smart. You know, that's your standard waiting in that box area to make sure I'm going to be here just in case something like what just happened exactly happened, right? So that's a smart place to be. So I'm going to look for him to just be smart in his rotations, being in the right place when needs to be, try not to make too many mistakes on defense, and they should have a better chance than they originally thought.
At what point does a positioning like that become almost a lack of respect? If you're positioning yourself in such a way that you're anticipating the mistake.
I don't think it ever really becomes a complete lack of respect unless it's like you're the only player left and like your teammates got demoed and you're like, all right, I'm just gonna trust that he doesn't have this clear and sit underneath his net.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, it's just about keeping your options open. That's one of the major things, one of the major just gameplay mechanics that you learn as you're like ranking up, as you're becoming a better player. You learn that it's super important to always keep my options open. Why would I go all the way back to my own net when there's an opportunity to both save any type of clear or shot that could go into your own net, and also being able to capitalize on a defensive error from the other team?
Yeah, and it also comes back, it's not a lack of respect. It's just, like you said, keeping your options open, because more than likely the rotation meta, to put quotes around that, sort of like, in theory, you should have people behind you ready to take care of a longer clear or something like that. So it's not ever really a lack of respect, I don't think. It's just in case, the contingency. Yeah,
I mean, the easiest way, I guess, to think about it is the fact that if there's nobody there to punish a mistake, is it really ever a problem or a mistake, right?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you just need to have somebody there to kind of keep the other team honest, right? To make them say, hey, look, I'm here so that when you mess up that clear, I'm going to score it. So you have pressure on you. You need to make plays happen, and I'm just not going to let you
do it for free.
Yeah, do it for free.
And even when you get to the highest level, there's several times when players have told me, why did you miss that? Like, I was expecting you to hit that ball, and they position themselves elsewhere, and the ball goes untouched in the box, and nobody's there to pick it up until somebody comes back in from the defense, and because nobody from the offense was expecting them to miss. So, like, there are a couple of players I know that always are in that just do it position.
Sure.
Sort of like, I think like K-Dop and Matt and there's one other, but they're always going for it, and that is a very rare skill to see at the highest level, because you have so much respect for your opponents to clear the ball and hit it. Well,
despite having a substantial lead, Genesis has agreed that the best situation here is to restart the match, so they will restart game number 1, and we will have a clean slate, and Cerberus can maybe breathe a sigh of relief. Okay, we learned how to score on them. We're going to get to start over with a clean slate. Not often that you get a situation like this where they can really have an opportunity to start over completely, so Cerberus is going to have to be trying to see if they can redeem themselves here in game number 1.
Right, there's not many opportunities Cerberus are going to get as good as this, where being down, getting a little bit of a taste of what Genesis has to offer, and being able to start over, fresh and create a new game plan.
Is there ever, you guys talk about, positioning yourself that way on the defense, where you want to be in a space where you're expecting the mistake, you're anticipating the mistake, you're forcing them not to make the mistake. It's the opposite is true when you're on the offense, though. You're almost always positioning yourself in such a way that you're counting, you're trusting your teammates, forcing them to make the correct play. Being like, especially when a passing situation, I'm going to loft in the ball, I'm going to pre-jump before you have even successfully hit the pass to me for the most aggressive sort of offense.
Well, I think that pre-jumping is incredibly risky. I'm never a huge huge fan of it. It's awesome. It looks absolutely fantastic when
You're
you see
nuts.
it successful, right? Yeah, like, oh, wow, how the heck did you predict that? But the amount of variables that have to come together just right, I mean, it could be something as simple as just not having enough boost, right? And your whole play goes...
And then you're out of rotation for a long time. It's a long drive back to your own half if you do that. But back into the game, we are restarting this series. So let's go ahead and re-kick things off here for the Cerberus crew. They do get a second chance. Jaywiz, Classics, and Leth looking to re-establish dominance in the new game one. It's now a pass out of the midfield. Coop Dog, nice long pass downfield. Not quite cut off cleanly by Jaywiz, but the pressure has ramped up a little bit, and they will just throw this one to the side and try and get themselves back on the right foot. And hello, there's a chance it goes through in the first one over to Cerberus.
And as we mentioned on the desk, that pause definitely played into the advantage of Cerberus. They were able to take what they learned from the previous half a game or so, and now they're in the lead against this Genesis roster. If I had to bet on it, I don't think Genesis is going to let this lead hang, and they're going to come right back into it.
The kickoff certainly would suggest that, and Jaywiz goes right through him. McFickle, do you have a crystal ball?
Some would say I do. Others would just say I'm lucky.
Well, it's a good answer from Genesis. Just a few seconds, and as our good friend Stax would say in the broadcast crew, when are you most likely to get scored on? Right after you score yourself, and Genesis find the answer just off the kickoff. We're right back to locked at ones here with 4 minutes and 17 seconds remaining. As left now. Whoa, pass over into the corner. Classics out into mid, and there was Jaywiz lurking at the top of the box ready for it, but it's always that preemptive offense.
Yeah. The pass that went into the midfield, that ball's almost going to run all the way through as Genesis has a bit of a scare. But now Jay Wismont on the dribble, only 6 boosts there. If he had a little bit more, you maybe think he would have gotten that past him, but the offense is still on for Genesis.
Shot kept away. Lum, solid defensive showing. This one right back out to the middle of the box. Nobody around for Genesis, however. A big missed clear there from Lum. That will allow the defense not a lot of time to work with, as Leth keeping the pressure up on the Genesis hide. Another missed touch and a third chance at the offensive go here for Genesis. And they, like you said, they really have to clean up that defense. You were talking about it before we got right back into this one. You need to find those touches.
Genesis actually playing a bit slower than what they were playing in this previous game. I don't know if that pause actually mentally affected them, but they're definitely slow to the ball. And I'm not sure if it's they don't know what Cerberus is going to accomplish with their hits because they're a little bit unconventional, or if they're just out of the rhythm based off of getting into a game they've already, half played.
Ooh, Classics just able to get the power on that, courtesy of the Jaywiz pass.
And Classics, again, waiting in midfield here. It's just going to be an open net. Rich is not going to be able to get back to that in time. He was caught upfield in the wrong position because he wanted that side field, the midfield boost 100%. Those little capsules on the side running along the farthest wall. If you touch them or make contact, it refills your boost to 100 no matter where you were on your current boost canister. And they're quite important when it comes to your rotations because you want to make your rotations based off of the 100% boost because that's the most efficient.
We're just about halfway through this game number one. Genesis have found a couple of answers. There's a demo in the net. Coop Dog taking out Jaywiz, and that one needed to be on target from Lum. They open the door. Unfortunately, the follow-through not quite there. Left with a great touch out to the midfield. He really has to go and get that one. Classics there, pass, but it doesn't matter. It finds its way in.
Man, Jaywiz actually had the almost steal here, but he was not able to make contact. As Classics' original touch was on target, although off the post. I really like that decision from Lethamir. He had the ball in the back of his car and didn't have a lot of boost. He had 12 boost. Instead of taking his dribble over to the side boost where he could have gotten 100%, he opted to flick it into the middle for his teammate to take it away from him, which is a very selfless play, not the team. But it's just trusting your teammates to be in the right position and knowing that the objective is greater than you as a one player.
Yeah, it's always a highly underrated skill, I think, not trying to do too much with the ball. Just say, you know what, I don't have the best option, and Classics goes from end to end. Hello.
Again, on the middle post here, those types of weak shots like that, and that is a really bad miss from the side of Cerberus. Got to clean that up if you want any chance against Genesis. But those weak shots, although they're on target, like hooray, you got a shot, but you put it directly into like a half volley situation for the other team, and you find really, really hard clears and even shots all the way from the other side of the field.
Well, game one started off well for the Cerberus crew. They were able to find the first goal of the game, and unfortunately, as it's gone on, Genesis have reestablished themselves as top dog here. Shot towards the net. Classics tried to shut down the clear opportunity, and Jaywiz just has to buy a little time, and he does so quite well. He goes through two, and then Rich finds himself on the back foot once again, and it's a tough save. He makes two in a row, and Classics ends up saving it as well for the Genesis side. But what a showing right there from Coop Dog.
Classics, it may look like he actually saved that ball, but from the position he was, he had no chance of scoring it, so he knows that. He tries to throw it out to a teammate coming into the rotation in the corner, and hopefully they can score it. But Genesis, again, I believe this is actually one more goal than we saw when the game cut out the last time, but it looks pretty much the exact same game. Yeah,
pretty much the exact same game. The defense just breaks down a little bit. They've shown up quite well here for Cerberus. They're able to keep a few offensive rotations out of their own net. Unfortunately, that pressure just keeps building and building over on that Genesis side, and they're just not able to effectively move it out of their own half. So they need to find an answer moving forward into the series. They need to get themselves going the right direction if they want to have a chance here against Genesis. Coop Dog past Alum, right back down, and there's the nice long clear finally over onto the blue side of things, and it finds its way into the top right corner. Coop Dog, hello.
Fist bumps all around for Cerberus, as that is a very nice dumped off pass from the ceiling. When you receive that ball up on the ceiling like that, it's very instinctual to just hit the ball as hard as you can down the other side of the field because you want to get out of your territory. But the smarter players and the better players are going to know, hey, if I do that, it's going to go straight into the enemy team. I should hit it down so that my teammate moving forward with the momentum can hit a boomer, just like it was in that shot. But 3 goals down, 30 seconds left against Genesis. It doesn't look like
hello. They gave a couple of smiles over on the Genesis side. A brilliant pass and a brilliant finish.
And this is how you know that Genesis is feeling themselves, as Jay Wismont with the, I don't think it was in, but that was definitely a very calculated steal as he gets the redirect onto net. All for naught, honestly, as the flash is going to be, well, game's not over yet.
Down.
Yeah, Kickoff gets shut down. Coop Dog finds another one.
Yeah, Coop Dog again. He's got 2 of the 3 goals here, and Lum with 2 of the assists, both to each other. So they seem to be working well, and they're able to garner a bit of offensive pressure again off the kickoff. But game 1 more all than over. What do we got? We have 6-3 here with 20 seconds left. So at least Coop Dog, Lum, and Rich are able to bring a bit more offense here into this game number 1 restart. But still, the main problem, keeping out those extra chances from the Genesis crew. They need to find an answer, get those clears moving down to the other side of the pitch sooner. It's the final second going to tick off the clock here, and that will wrap things up here for the game number 1. Genesis take a nice, clean victory.
Yeah, pretty much not a surprise to 99% of the people, watching and on the desk. Genesis, a household name. You wouldn't expect anything else, but if I want to make, some accreditation to Cerberus, I really like how they played the ball on their own side, not making that many defensive mistakes. The goals that were scored from Genesis were all pretty good shots, pretty well placed, pretty good plays. And the one pass down from the ceiling into your own teammate, I really like that from Cerberus.
Yeah, definitely that ability to move the ball within your own half effectively is definitely a skill you need to be able to have, because if you're able to pass the ball to your teammates in your own half, it makes it that much easier to clear the ball out of your own half. So Genesis, moving into this game number 2, they really don't have to change too much. All they got to do is just keep the pressure out of the midfield, continue to have those solid challenges coming out from whoever's out there, and really it should be more the same in game 2 for them.
And Cerberus was having a lively discussion about their tactics coming into this game. But if I know Classics, he's wondering not about the game, but where he's going to be eating after this, honestly.
You see Lathamir on your screen right there, Calm, Cool, Collected, and of course the Cerberus crew over on the other side of the stage. And they are ready to go here into this game number 2. It is a best of 3. So Cerberus is going to have to pick things up here if they want to have a chance at taking this one. It would be our first game 3 of the day as Classics off the kickoff. Nice delayed touch to get things over here on Urban Central. Is this the Dawn variant or is this just plain old Urban?
This looks like the Dawn variant.
No, Dawn is more yellow. This has to be Stormy, but either way.
No, Stormy, okay.
Yeah, there we go. As Coop Dog makes a nice clear there, Cerberus at least able to push it quickly out of their own half. That is definitely my key to victory. What do you think Cerberus has to do to have success here in game 2 and Lethamyr just wide?
They have to have everything go in their favor, and they have to hope that Genesis isn't going to be an offensive force, that they're missing their mark, and Cerberus is going to have to break downfield and make some spectacular plays. They're going to have to get pretty fortunate on both sides of the pitch if they want to come back in this game.
Quick shot right at the center of the net. Coop Dog turns it away, no problem. J-Wiz again, second opportunity. Classics lurking in the midfield with no boost, and he will have to split off. They leave Lethamyr on his own to try and keep this one in the orange half, and would you believe it, successful. As Cerberus, even in a 3-on-1, not able to clear the ball effectively. So now Rich gives it right over to Lethamyr, and they all get caught pushing forward. A little bit too much faith on that one.
That is an open net, as the name describes itself. As Lethamyr is going to make the turn on the ball and use the half volley technique to launch it downfield. It's where you let the ball just barely bounce off the ground before flipping into it, generating a ton of power downfield. And the turn there from Lethamyr confuses the defense because he has a teammate behind him that maybe want to be hitting it, but he turns himself and hits it.
Just came up short there from Lethamyr. Rich, Coop Dog, and Lum needing an answer here. They'd like to have it sooner rather than later. It's answering quickly, I believe, a fairly important aspect. This one again directly at Rich, and he's able to make a nice save. But that's really been the story of the Genesis offense. If they put the ball right on net, Cerberus is able to handle. They're able to handle those vanilla shots on net rather well. It's when they get those passing plays out of the Genesis crew and they start placing them that they really seem to struggle a lot.
Yeah, I'm actually quite impressed with the defensive effort from Cerberus. They've had several good shots placed on their own net and were able to deal with it pretty effectively, better than game 1. But Genesis, the only thing that I would have to say about them is I don't like the classic car doesn't match his two teammates. His two teammates have really cool painted Draco wheels, and he just has a plain old boring Dominus.
Hey, man.
Shame on you, Classic.
This one towards the net. He's got royalty on there. He's got a decal. So he's not completely unpainted, but either way, that's a nice touch out towards the top of the box, and J-Wiz just a little bit too close. And at least this one a bit closer than it was in the previous halfway point of the previous game. And Cerberus, I mean, they've stepped it up a little bit, but it's still that problem of they need to get downfield. You can see right there on Lum, he's got no scoreboard shots, and Rich with 4 saves. All of their scoreboard statistics coming from defense, and that's a great block. That's the first shot registered from Cerberus here in this game too, and just not on target.
Almost a clairvoyant effort there from Cerberus to dunk the defender over there, and that's going to be put right back into Cerberus net. This game is actually pretty competitive as far as, as far as the outward appearance of these two teams, Genesis being a household name, and Cerberus maybe not even having a main stage time slot once before. So a minute 30 left, and Cerberus they're still in this game for sure.
Coop Dog, a nice long clear downfield, and again, J-Wiz, great control of that ball, and Lethamyr just knows he's not going to reach it. And actually, did you see the way he turned his car right there to grab that boost and then reposition himself to be facing to go back on defense? That's some...
Lethamyr is a pretty competitive ones player, and you really find that optimized movement when you're having to deal with a play style that you make one mistake and that's going to be it. Everything has to be perfect. And, you see that coming when he's trying to even go get the boost.
1 minute remaining. Cerberus needing to find the back of the net one time. J-Wiz a couple of touches, and everybody from Cerberus kind of just saying, I mean, what are you going to do? And they just sit there in the net and let him tap it down and attempt once again to find a clear out of their own half. But this offense so good from Lethan. That one, a nice shot, but Lem stays right with it, cuts off the angle just enough. But still the offense going for Genesis. Rich needs this clear. It's a bit of a weak one, and it's a race, and J-Wiz the one to come up with it first. And again, really aggressive challenging. That's twice we've seen out of Lum. He's just jumping from a little bit too far away and really giving too many options as they're trying to move it back down onto that orange side.
Yeah, that was quite a good defensive effort there from Cerberus. That passing play was going onto net, but he was able to intercept it as it was on target. 7 seconds left for Cerberus.
Oh, it's empty.
They tie it up.
It's empty. Would you believe it? They lock it up at ones, and Genesis kind of thinking, hey, no problem, and then that big miss clear off the side wall, and it's just too far away for Classics, and, well, we have a game here in game 2.
Yeah, the bounce off of the sidewall definitely confused him. He was taking a position where it was going to roll up the wall instead of bouncing straight out, and is caught way out of position. And we might have our first overtime of our tournament.
Our very first overtime here of DreamHack Atlanta, and it comes in Genesis versus Cerberus, game number 2. A chance to see our first game number 3 as well. And Cerberus have got to be stoked to have this opportunity, as now Classics hammers one off that corner. There it will not go. Bar down and in. Classics finishes the job.
Excellent recovery there from Classics to stay up into the play, and a rare whiff from Jay Wismont. He was trying to shoot it and guard the block at the same time, and ended up missing because he was taking a position higher up than where he should have been. But then Classics is going to turn around, backflip it in, and Genesis is going to take it 2-0, and actually a surprisingly close game 2.
Yeah, I mean, Cerberus, they really did a nice job of limiting the goal-scoring opportunities for Genesis, kept a few more of those very difficult shots out of the net, but overall still just not able to quite generate enough offensive presence to really amount to much.
All right, after that wild series, we're going to throw it back over to Wave and the analysts, and they're going to tell us what they thought about that match.
Thanks so much, Fickle. Quite an exciting match we had here between Genesis and Cerberus, starting with the game number 1 that has to be reset. They have to play again, and then Genesis was in control game number 1. The second game number 1, they were even more in control, coming out and completely stomping them. But then game 2 comes out as just a 1-goal game until the 11 seconds left. Cerberus ties it back up, and then Lethemir making some crazy plays in the net to put it on the bar, then pass it across to Classics. They'll get the win 2-0.
Jay Wismont, I think.
Oh, you think it was Jay Wismont?
Right?
I'm pretty sure it was Lethemir making the pass.
Lethemir? All right, well, either or. I'm not sure which one it was. I mean, that first series, really, a lot of respect to Genesis. Great sportsmanship for being able to reset that match, especially being in the lead with the game going out and the power going out. Not much you can do there, but just want to give them a quick shout out. That game number 2, though, wow. Cerberus, they can play. They can hang.
You saw them getting excited. Lawler, you were out there watching. You saw them get excited as they scored that tying goal. Great opportunity for them. Doesn't quite come through, but Genesis gets the win. How'd you feel about the match?
I mean, you're talking a lot of veteran players on that Genesis squad, and to keep them only within 1 and have another goal within 6 seconds left to tie it up and bring it into overtime. Unfortunately, they weren't able to carry that kind of aggression through to the rest of the match, but it shows that they can compete with the big boys. It's really exciting for them.
It was a good opportunity there for them to get some games under their belt against a top caliber roster here in Genesis. Good time. I think this is the first time I've personally watched Genesis with this new lineup. It was good to see play. We had questions about Jay Wismont. He came out and scored fantastic stuff. I loved his car. Had the blue dragon decal with blue Dracos as well. Like, it was actually, I think it was the first time I've seen sky blue Dracos on the stream.
Look good, man. They look real good. I know Corrupted G always catches your eye for his unique
green car.
Yeah,
very
unique
green car
is the best way I'll put it. I wouldn't say it's the best looking, but it exists.
It is definitely improved over time.
Yeah.
Speaking of other players with other cars, Lethemir, I talked to you just this week on overtime,
just a few days ago.
Now we're gonna get to talk again here. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Fantastic wins there. Were you guys scared at all there at the end of game 2 when they were able to tie it back up?
No, we were just having fun with that series. So we were just, trying different plays. Like you saw Jay was off the back wall there. We're just trying to have fun with it, get him used to the LAN experience. Because this is his first time.
Can you clarify for Quinn and I here? Was it you that made the pass to Classics from the overtime goal?
I think so.
In net?
Yeah.
So confident.
You put it on the bar.
You were the assist at the end?
I have no idea.
The game?
He doesn't even remember.
I was on autopilot. So.
It was all a blur.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, talk to me about Genesis. I mean, we talked about it a bit on overtime, but how are you feeling about you guys? You guys clicking here at DreamHack?
Really good. That probably wasn't a really good representation of how we've been playing. So we look forward to showing how we actually play against the top level teams in the future. So. It's feeling really good so far. So.
Have you guys played up against G2 yet in your group?
No, that was our first game for today. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So looking forward at the rest of DreamHack, going to get the jitters out, move forward. What are your expectations going up against G2 right now?
It could go either way, really. They're obviously known to be very, very aggressive, and they have those high aerial passes, but I think we can counter that if we play properly. So.
Cool. Any team that you are particularly looking out for right now?
To not want to play against?
Yeah. Just like who's the one that you've got the most respect for? You're like, that's the team that's scaring me.
The only team that we're really kind of scared of, because we played a different style against them and it didn't work for the last 2 times, and now that we've changed, we feel like we could beat them, but it's Hollywood Hammers. I would say. Really? It's the only team they're very hyper aggressive. So I think that we were kind of cut off guard. We didn't really have a good stand on defense. So if we go back to how we're playing now and play them now, we might be fine. But yeah, we don't know. So
for those who don't know, Hollywood Hammers, formerly Take 3, definitely a star roster. We haven't got to see yet, but we'll probably get to see them later today. Definitely a team to look out for.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Lethamir, do you think that with Jay Wismont being new to LAN, do you think that your performance now, he's going to struggle, or do you think with how you saw him in the game so far, you're looking forward to this next RLCS season, or are you going to need that time to practice?
It definitely felt a little different at the start, but then we were just kind of having fun with it, like I said. So hopefully when we're taking it more seriously, like off stage, especially against G2, might help us because we're in our own environment. But yeah, it's a little bit different. I'm hoping he can sort of settle in, not be nervous. He's more like trying to shine, so it might make him be more aggressive. But we're just trying to keep our play style the same. So.
I mean, you're talking about your own environment. We see people have their own kind of unique style when they pop off.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see you dance or something if you do it?
Just do some Highland dancing.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, just stand up, drop the controller, and just go at it.
Jay Wiz wants to scream after 1 goal during his
do it.
Just go for it.
Encourage it, please.
Okay.
It'll be fantastic stuff. Well, you guys, is this your first time at DreamHack? At any DreamHack?
Yeah, first DreamHack.
How are you liking it so far?
Fantastic. It's really good to just walk around, say hi to other pro players, any people in the audience. It's great. Yeah.
Is this the first time you've played in a LAN setting where there's multiple games going on?
No, I went to GXCon just a few weeks ago during my 1v1 tournament on Johnny Boy's stream. So I saw a few games there. There was Tekken, Street Fighter, Halo. So it was good, yeah.
You guys got quite a bit of love there, too.
Yeah, it was great.
There you go. Because you guys were repping the Denial squad at that point, right?
Yeah, I think, well, yeah. I had
the Denial group of guys was playing together?
Yeah, there's the one Hearthstone player we hung out with. He's really cool, yeah. So yeah.
Sweet.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for talking to us. Any other shout-outs you got before I let you go?
Not really, actually. Just we're playing our game here. My parents are probably watching this at the moment, so shout out to them again, I guess.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Always good to call out the progenitors there. Genesis looking good here in their first match. We'll see how they continue on in the tournament. But Lethamir came from Team Denial, which was known as Team Canada. There is a new Team Canada in the building, folks. Myth Gaming is here, formerly with Sad Jr. and Corrupted G, and then also with, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the third player. Lichinio, the original star Canadian player. Cannot wait to see those guys play. They're going to be going up against Mocket. This will be one of the best matches we've had so far. Can't wait to see it. We'll have this and more after the break.